Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing a quick video on how to start my primitive pits 250 gallon offset, or any offset that you might have. Let's jump right in. Okay, so the first thing to note, your offset smoker, regardless of how big it is, requires a coal bed to really provide that radiant heat, and then of course logs on top of that fire to create the smoke and the flavor. It's not just all about the wood. So the first thing we do with any offset is we're going to start up an entire chimney. Depending on the size of your smoker, you can use a smaller chimney. In this case, I'm using a large Weber chimney, and this is all full of lump charcoal. The reason we use lump is because we have it. You can use briquette, but I like the lump because it does make it easier coal bed to work with right away. But I've used briquettes and it works just fine. In some cases, the larger the smoker, some cases I'll do 2 of these chimneys to start this thing up if I know I'm gonna do a really long cook. But ultimately, let's get this thing fired up. And I let it run inside the firebox. I just use a little fire starter, which looks like this. And that's gonna get you everything you need to get that little chimney going. So let's go ahead and do that now. Once we get our fire starter going, just take our chimney, we'll put it right there and make sure everything's working. We're gonna have our smoker wide open at this point. So we wanna make sure either the doors or the stack in this model is fully open. But in this case, I'm just gonna let the doors stay wide open. That just helps to move that airflow through. You'll notice doing it this way also starts your smoker and starts to get it to temperature slowly. When I first started this, smoke was just billowing out of the back, obviously, because there's not vacuum essentially established through the smoker or convection. So this is actually helping to get things started. Now it's a cleaner fire. Obviously the charcoal is more lit, but as you can see, the stack is actually drawing now. So when we start this fire, we'll be in a much better position to get things going easily. Not a huge deal, of course. Everyone starts their fires differently, but this is my super chill way of firing up the big offset. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is just make sure our splits are small enough to start this fire. And we've got some oak here, just some basic white oak that I had laying around. I got this splitter from Northern Tool, but you can get them on Amazon. This is the XL version, and it does a great job for big pieces of wood. And what I like to do is just get a sledge and just come in here and give it a couple whacks. Splits it right down into very small, manageable splits. Of course, if you have a smaller smoker, you can do that as well. Okay, about 20 minutes later, you'll start to see that the charcoal has a little white salt and pepper to it. At this point, you can let it go a little further for everything to have salt and pepper, but at this point, your charcoal is very, very well good and lit. So we'll go ahead and just give it a couple of smacks, just so when I tip it over, it doesn't drop any ash on my feet. And then what I do, you'll see that it's created a little bed there. I'll lay it out in a nice pile. Set this aside. Careful what you set it on because it will be hot. And now we've got a really good little coal bed going. From here, we'll go back to our small wood and we'll do one on the side. We'll do another on the other side. Get this coal bed nice and centered up. Now we're gonna do one log in the back and one more log in the front. We're gonna let this entire stack burn all the way to coals before we actually start cooking. And again, this coal bed is so important in a smoker like this that you could even stack this up even further, depending on how long you want your cook to run. But if you don't have a good coal bed, you're going to have to be feeding and feeding and feeding until you establish a coal bed. And you'll feel like you're just giving so much wood to a big smoker that you feel like you're burning a lot of wood. But if you don't start here, or even bigger, maybe twice the size, you're just gonna feel like that for the first 4 or 5 hours of the cook until you get a really good coal bed. So I always start here and then get the smoker nice and to temperature, and then we can start adding wood and building our fire for low and slow or hot and fast. That's the kind of smoke we're looking for. It's easier to see in person. I tried to use this tree as a little bit of a backdrop, but you'll notice how quick the smoke is coming out of the stack. It's not opaque, it's very clear, it's thin, it's bluish. That's the kind of smoke we're looking for throughout the cook. Of course, the stack is fully open, so we're having a ton of air. That's why it's shooting out 4, 5, 6 feet in the air. But once we close that stack for a low and slow cook, it'll be a little less aggressive, but this would be obviously the most convective the smoker can get. That said, our fire is now burnt down pretty much into coals for the most part. I did throw another log in there just to add to the overall coal bed. So we're gonna chop this up with the shovel, rebuild the coal bed, and then kind of build our low and slow fire within that. And just a note, you can see the fire is actually going that direction. Now the smoker's up to temperature. All the steel is warm, so the fire is being drawn. You can hear when you're standing here, you won't be able to hear it on camera, this sucking sound going through the smoker. But that fire, you can see it, it's going that direction. It's not coming towards me, it's pulling it that way, which is gonna always be pulling your coal bed into the firebox. And we want to run our fire as close to this door as possible. You can see here, I've got about a 6-inch gap so I don't get my door too hot. But now that we have this kind of roaring coal bed, of course, we're full door open and I'm filming here, so that's burning very quickly. I'm gonna go ahead and take a pretty good sized split here. You can see it's about a 16-inch split. It's about 3 to 3.5 inches tall at the back. We're gonna go ahead and build a pretty big low and slow fire here. So we're gonna put him right on the edge. We're gonna do another log of a similar size on this side. And again, we're gonna do kind of across the front here. And sometimes you may have to squeeze up this fire just a little bit so we don't have a ton of airflow going through here. And basically I'm trying not to make a huge gap underneath so that air is not ripping through there and catching too much. So we'll go ahead and tamp down the door now to about a finger's width here or so. Usually the stopper on the primitive pit is a great spot to start low and slow. And then on the stack, we're gonna come over here and we're gonna shut this stack down by pulling this lever. And we're gonna shut it down so it's pointed towards kind of the 45 degree there. And you'll see we're about, I don't know, 40% closed, maybe 30% closed. Maybe go a little further. That's probably about 50% closed there. And that's a good low and slow. You can get even further. But you'll notice for a little bit, this smoke is a lot wider and it will clean up here pretty quickly. Okay, so now it's about 10 minutes later and you can see the energy coming out of the stack isn't as aggressive, but it is still a nice clean blue smoke, maybe a little whiter than before, but it's still very clean looking. And if you come down here, you'll see that far left, we're bang on 250, okay, and then bang on 250 here, pretty much, 253, 55, whatever. Of course, we're gonna be a lot hotter, usually 50 degrees hotter at the far right, but anywhere from here forward is cookable. I do chicken and stuff up here. If I'm gonna do chicken, I do open the stack and get a lot of convection going through, but for the most part, low and slow, brisket, pulled pork, ribs, 250 is the money spot. And you'll see this thing rides really good. We can click one of these. See, I just went up a little bit, so we are on the rise. Over here, see if this is on the rise. See how that jumped? So we know we're up on the rise there. Do it again if you missed it. That one didn't quite have it. I bet you this one will jump. Yeah, a little bit. So ultimately, guys, that is how you get a good low and slow and a good startup on your primitive pits. I'll just go ahead and open the firebox and show you just how nice and gentle that fire is burning. It's not ripping and roaring, and that is the way to do it. Okay guys, well, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed a little bit of what it takes to fire up a large offset. But keep in mind, these principles apply to small smokers, whether it's an offset in your backyard or something of that size. Same principles apply. Get a good coal bed, get the right wood, and then learn to manage your fire. So guys, without further ado, I'll close this video out, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below on what you want to see next, whether it's big offset content or fire built or fireboard stuff on the master built or drum smokers, Weber kettles. I've got it all. So if you guys want to see something, please comment down below, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.